Hi, I'm Christy, and this is Live in La Vida Moto. Today we're going to talk about overcoming your fear. So I just put beat out your fear because, okay, so I'm going to say, I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm going to say a high percentage of the reasons why people do not travel or follow their dream is because of fear. I know it's true for me, and I know that other people I've talked to it's been true for as well. So I'm just going to go with that and say a high percentage. So basically, for, oh God, I don't even know how many years, my oldest was a baby, and I wanted to go backpacking with him. And I didn't because of fear, you know. What if he gets cold? What if he gets sick? What if something happens? You know, all these what ifs. We all have a million what ifs. So we've been traveling full-time for 10 years, and over those 10 years I've kind of learned how to overcome the fear. The first time was really difficult because I'd never ever done it before, but now it's just kind of a process that I know how to do, and I just work through it. So I'm going to kind of show you the process that works for me. So especially if you're just getting started and you're wondering, you have all these questions and fears, and you know, and it's like stopping you in your tracks from doing what you want to do. I'll give you an example. So in 2017, I really wanted to go to Mexico. I wanted to take my kids and I wanted to go to Mexico. But every time I'd sit down to plan about Mexico, my stomach would be in knots and anxiety would be so high, and I really had to get over the fear. It was all fear. And it was fear of the unknown. It wasn't like fear of anything logical. I mean, it is logical because things could happen, but the likelihood of them happening really wasn't great. So the first thing that I do is I get a notebook. I am a notebook fiend. So if you are not a notebook fiend and you're worried about wasting paper, you can use like a half a page for each one, but I just use a page for each one. So take the notebook and your pen and sit down and write out all of your fears, like all of your what ifs, if that's what it is. But so for example, you're planning your world tour and you've got all these fears. So, you know, a big one that I hear is, what if we run out of money? So you write, what if we run out of money? And then the next one, halfway down, you could write, what if the kids don't like it? And then on the next page, you know, what if, I don't know, what if we get sick? What if, you know, all of these things. So write down all of your fears that you have that are causing you anxiety or causing you stress and not wanting to go. And then underneath that, each fear, write in the worst case scenario. So what if we run out of money? What's the worst case scenario of that? You run out of money, you're in a foreign country, and you have no way to get home. That's the worst case scenario, I guess, for me. I don't know what it would be for you. So think about that and then write that down. And then underneath that, think of 3 solutions to that worst case scenario. So, you know, what if we run out of money? Worst case scenario is we're in a foreign country, we run out of money and we can't get home. So one solution would be to put money away every month into a separate account that is only for an emergency. So like have an emergency fund. Another solution could be, you know, but think of 3 solutions and And do that for each one, like a worst case scenario and 3 solutions. And what you're going to find is that you can always find a solution for things. So, you know, I'll give you an example from when we were in Mexico. So we got to Mexico, and I had rented this condo off of booking.com. And then we got there, we got to the property. We climbed up 4 flights of stairs with all our luggage, and I have these kids with me. We knock on the door, and there's a Mexican lady answers the door, and there's like 8 kids like peeking out this window, and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what booking.com is. Nobody knows anything. So basically, I think it was a scam. I don't know. Anyway, so we come all the way back down the 4 flights of stairs, and we're in like this parking garage. And the attendant came over, and I said, "Can I just sit here for a minute? I just need to figure out what's happening." So I got a hold of Booking and told them what was going on. They sent me an email back, and they said they were sorry that happened, to find a hotel, and they would pay whatever the difference was and refund me my money. So they refunded me my money, and I asked the guy at the parking lot attendant if there was a hotel nearby. He said yes. He offered to drive us, and it worked out. So, I mean, that could have been one of my biggest fears. Like, what if we don't have a place to stay when we get there? What if something happens? And I didn't plan on that happening, and I didn't think of a solution ahead of time. But because I've been doing this worst case scenario and thinking of solutions to everything, it just worked out really well for us. So because now I can just sit down, I can like take a deep breath and think, okay, it's going to work out. Maybe not the way I planned, but it will work out. What can I do? You know, and it happened as well when I was in Europe. So coming home from Europe, I had missed my flight in Oslo going to New York, I believe. Anyway, so I sat down, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to call the company that I booked through. So I called the company, they're called Kiwi.com. They were really wonderful to me. I called them, and they arranged for a new flight, and they arranged for a hotel and everything like that. So it all worked out because I stayed calm and I was able to figure out a solution. So doing this notebook thing just kind of trains your brain to be thinking of solutions and not focusing on the negative all the time. So I think in our world today, we watch a lot of news, we see a lot of stuff on Facebook, we see a lot of and other social media, and usually it's negative. So it's like the cartel killed, you know, however many people, and this negative and that negative and this and that. So, but in general, most places are safe and okay, and you know, as long as you're there as a genuine traveler and you're not out doing illegal things, or you know what I mean. So basically, you're going to be okay. And most of our fears are totally unfounded. So all the fears I had for Mexico, once I got there, I realized, what was I worried about? Like, what was I worried about? I did not go to Europe. I've wanted to go since I was probably 15 years old. I did not go because somebody once told me that Europe is really expensive. So I did not go from 16 to until last year when I was 46 years old. So I didn't go for 30 years because I listened to somebody who told me that Europe is really expensive. And so my big fear was that I was gonna get there, I was gonna run out of money, and I was gonna be stuck. And you know what? I didn't run out of money, and I wasn't stuck. So, and it worked out really well for me, and I would go again in a heartbeat. So all of the fears that I had were totally unfounded. So figuring out a way to work through your fears is what you need to do. This is what works for me: writing things down, writing out the fear, writing the worst case scenario, and writing out solutions. And that works for me. It might not work for you. I don't know what's going to work for you. You need to figure out what's going to work for you, and you need to like squash down your fear so that you can pack your bags and go. I hope that was helpful. If you have any ideas on how you combat your fear, put them in the comments. I'd be happy to know.